Author DJ LeJeune will now explain his reasons for writing Start over.
So I wanted to give a little bit of a behind the scenes for Path of Relics and my Path of Relics series, why I wanted to write it. And it goes back to some of my first books that I read in the LitRPG and progression fantasy genres. So I started off with more of the light stuff, like I watched Sword Art Online, the anime, and Ready Player One as well. And that sort of led me more into the true genre of LitRPG and progression fantasy. I think one of my first stories that I read in that genre was Awaken Online by Travis Bagwell. But then I moved on to Cradle. I moved on to Delvers LLC, Iron Prince, Dissonance Unbound. And in all of these stories, I saw a framework in LitRPG and in progression fantasy to tell a story that I've been wanting to tell for a long time that is like this hybrid of science fiction and fantasy.
Atop one of the taller buildings, a billboard displayed a peculiar ad. It stood out because the advertisements here, projected directly into his AR glasses in the quiet residential neighborhood, were usually colorful and obnoxious. But now, the board filled in plain white, except for some black text and a strange logo. The logo looked like a faceted boomerang, or a skinny Picasso Pac-Man, cubed and distorted. Under it were 3 lines of text. The ether shard waits on the path, unveiled by the stone of noon sky, unlocking the door in the mists.
As a massive science fiction fan for all of my life, I love this concept of science fiction and fantasy taking you places and letting you experience things that you can't experience in real life. And one of the concepts that I've been drawn to for a long time now is this idea of a full immersion virtual reality rig. And I say full immersion very purposefully instead of full dive, right? Because full dive is something more like Sword Art Online or even The Matrix. It's all happening in your head. I wanted something more like the holodeck from Star Trek, where you're physically moving, your body is moving, you're sweating, you're working for it, but you're in this other world. And I wanted to tell it in a very plausible way to where you could think this technology might even be able to exist very soon.
The portal rig, currently occupied by a man running at a full sprint, most closely resembled stair-stepper machines Terry had seen in commercials. Its base was large and flat and tapered up into a wide pole ending chest height. From the pole, a mechanical arm craned out. The arm was jointed in multiple places and attached to a frame holding the man. He ran on pedals hanging from the frame. Despite his sprinting and sharp movements, the pedals and frame moved seamlessly with his body, as though a part of him. His feet never touched the carpeted floor, hovering at least 6 inches above it at all times. A black crisscross pattern outfit clung tight to his skin, and a domed helmet surrounded his head, but his face was unobstructed. He didn't even wear AR glasses. He simply stared out at the surrounding suite. The way his gaze darted from place to place, however, suggested he saw something other than the room's 4 walls and bedroom set.
And of course, one of the biggest draws of this is that you can experience that other world, that fantasy world, in a way that's very real. When you get in this portal rig, it's like you're actually there. The visuals and the sights, obviously, but you can walk continuously and you'll never run into a wall. You know, you can put your hand against a wall and you would actually feel that wall. So it's tangible. It's like you're actually there.
Beneath his boots, fallen leaves and peat moss ruled. He dug into it with his heel, the soil below rich and damp and earthy. "This is unbelievable," he whispered. "Blair?" His voice caught in his throat. "Can you hear me?" When she didn't respond, he walked to the creek. Pebbles crunched under his steps, the soft dirt caving to his weight. He dipped a hand into the water. Wet, icy cold, the current soft on his palm. How was this possible? No haptic suit could be so convincing. And how could he smell the forest? Was all this somehow part of his tryout?
But along with wanting to tell this hybrid science fiction, fantasy, virtual reality story, I wanted to do it with a twist, right? Because most of the virtual reality stories that I had read, it is you are stuck in the game, or if you die in the game, you die in real life, or both, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. It gives you those instant life or death stakes. I wanted to do something different, however. So the story that I ended up writing was a story where the characters are playing this game and they start to see that events happening in the virtual world are causing glitches and malfunctions in the real world, and that it's starting to kill people.
Another story showed self-driving cars gone haywire. They crisscrossed on the Brooklyn Bridge, crashing into each other. Terry's hand shot to the frame of his AR glasses, freezing the video. A different view of the event revealed a herd of gray horses galloping across the lanes of traffic. The feed was blurry, but Terry could swear tusks protruded from their heads. Rhino horses? That couldn't be true. Proactive Gaming wouldn't be so irresponsible with their promotional efforts. Riddles on billboards were one thing, but an augmented reality herd of game animals visible to autocabs was another story. If Proactive was involved and people got hurt in those car wrecks, their hopes of Path of Relics becoming a hit would be squashed.
And mixed into all of this, I sort of skewed the story towards what I enjoyed the most in like science fiction and progression fantasy and LitRPG. So my story does have stats, but those stats are woven into the narrative. There's no screens or stat pages. It's just the way that I preferred the stories that I was reading, so that's how my story came out.
The dexterity stat was still his highest, now at 7,002. His other qualities, strength and constitution, were 3,713 and 3,459, respectively. All his numbers, other than dexterity, remained lower than what he recalled of Chris's stats from yesterday. So how was he level 2, while Chris, and every other player, remained at level 1? He scowled. Another Path of Relics mystery.
I also wanted to have a unique weapon for the main character.
In the chest lay a sword of dark metal, thin with a large hilt, an intricately designed bow, and 2 sticks, each roughly 2 feet long, made of the same dark metal as the other weapons. Kali sticks? Engraved swirls decorated the 2 batons, similar to the ornate design of the chest. In the center of each, a gray, diamond-shaped stone was set into a hollow in the metal.
I also wanted to tell a mystery-driven story where the character's exploration, it uncovers lost lore, and they discover the world rules through that exploration.
Terry stepped into the bowl and stared up at the back wall. Cryptic writing and symbols spread across the curved surface. One group of symbols sat apart. Most of the shapes in this group were crossed out, as if someone had scratched through them with a chisel. "Jade, what are these?" he asked. She joined him in the bowl. "The Eldritch names for the gods." "Are they supposed to be scarred like that?" Jade bobbed her head. "Yes and no. This depicts the gods as dead, killed eons ago, before even the Eldritch graced the world." Killed? What could kill a god? Terry wondered.
So all of that came together in what I feel, at least, is a pretty unique story. And if you haven't checked it out yet, it is available on Amazon. So you can look up Path of Relics on Amazon now and go check it out if you'd like. I'll probably put a link in the description. I'll probably have something on the screen here too for you to check it out if you want. But if you haven't subscribed already to my channel, please do that now. Hit the notification bell, all those things. And I'll see you in the next one.